You're listening to Graphic Novel Explorers Club podcast, an audio book club. Hello, thanks for checking out Graphic Novel Explorers Club. I'm one of your hosts, Francis. I'm joined by Johnny.
Hello.
And Dennis.
Heyo.
Today we will be discussing Old Man Logan by Mark Millar and artist Steve McNiven. We hope you already read today's title because all three of us have read the book and will be discussing it, so beware, spoilers ahead. We would love for you to share your opinion and thoughts on social media. Twitter is at GN Explorers Club, on Facebook, or feel free to email us at gnexplorersclub@gmail.com. Graphic Novel Explorers Club is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever podcasts are available. If you want to plan ahead for episode 4, we will be discussing Shortcomings by Adrian Tomine.
All right, let's get into this episode of Graphic Novel Explorers Club. So today we're discussing Old Man's Logan. Old Man's Logan?
Old Man's Logan.
We were supposed to have episode 3 be about Shortcomings by Adrian Tomine, but we called an audible and decided to go see Logan and read Old Man Logan. Why? That sweet, sweet SEO. Gotta ride the wave of Wolverine while it's still happening.
Don't expect us to be reading 50 Shades of Grey or anything like that. So.
Well, if it comes out with a graphic novel edition.
Oh, no.
Would you read that, Francis?
I read the first 2 books, and then they were so horribly written, I refused to read the third.
So if they're drawn, it would be better.
Probably, maybe. It's just a picture book would be a lot better.
Awesome to pull out.
Yeah.
Wait, like the with the tabs.
Yeah, exactly. Where things are moving.
So his hands coming down on her butt.
You read my mind, Johnny. We're gonna make tons of money.
Yeah, yeah.
There's S&M in that, right? In the 50 Shades, not Old Man Logan in 50 Shades of Grey.
In 50 Shades of Grey. There's a little S&M in Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So as Frankie said in the introduction, there will be spoilers. We'll be discussing this book, and we saw the movie, like I said, so we're going to be discussing some of the movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not all of it. Right off the back, if you haven't seen the movie, it has nothing to do with this comic book other than he's old.
And also, Logan has nothing to do with the remake of Logan's Run, which I originally thought and was so looking forward to.
Nor is it tied in any way to Logan's Roadhouse, which it was very unfortunate I found that out.
Isn't that a chain?
Yeah, that's a chain restaurant.
That would have been good.
Barbecue chain.
Yeah. Have some Logans while we're watching Logan.
I wonder if they did a promo chain. Like
they tried to get in on
yeah,
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, here's your Wolverine skewers.
Oh, man. That sounds fantastic.
You can keep them afterwards. Yeah, there's like just a
that's how you eat it, too. It's like a glove, and you have to like stab your food.
Let's stay on point.
Sorry.
No more Logan. No. So in the comic book, it takes place always 50 years in the future, no matter what point you're
right.
in, and it actually starts off in our hometown of Sacramento, California.
What?
The landscape looks nothing like this presently, so I'm really worried how bad the drought out here gets. But it's kind of a barren wasteland. And there's a older guy riding a horse into his town. Francis, you want to say something?
I just wanted to see the front drawing. If
Francis actually didn't read it.
No. I did read it this time. I just wanted to check something out.
But so Logan, recapping here real quick. Basically, go ahead.
Yeah. So it actually starts with saying that Wolverine refuses to fight.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Sorry.
And it shows him stumbling off. Into the woods.
There was this really bad fight between the.
Wait. Can't get to that point yet.
Between things, and things happen. But that's how it starts. Is Wolverine
End story.
refuses to fight, and he goes off on his own, and nobody has heard from him in 50 years.
Yeah.
Right, so this started off as a self-contained story arc within the Wolverine comic book story, and then eventually they gathered them up.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah. I have some problems with that, and we'll get to it. But basically, Logan, no longer known as Wolverine, refuses to go by that name, has a family, has a wife and 2 children. And
a boy and a girl. Yeah. It's a very nuclear family.
And one of them's named after Cyclops.
Scott.
I don't know. Jade, is that for...
I don't know.
Who's Jade? Is that?
I have no clue.
Who's Fireworks Hands? What's her
Jubilee?
name? Jubilee?
No.
Is her real name Jade or something?
I don't think so.
Oh. Well,
although that kind of would make sense if you're a fan of the cartoon from the 90s because he was kind of like a father figure to her, but I don't think
the
so.
Sparkle Fingers?
Yeah, exactly.
The most useless X-Men power of all time. She just makes fireworks. I mean, it's cool. She probably has a ton of work during the summer, but
That's how
or-
X-Mansion paid for itself, man.
or Chinese New Year.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're this is taking a while to get into. So he is a pig farmer out in the middle of nowhere, and a bunch of Hulks show up, and it turns out they're offspring of the Hulk, and they're kind of slumlords, and and Logan wasn't able to sell some pigs, so he owes for this month's rent. It's the first time he's ever been late. And then the next day, Hawkeye shows up. He's blind. He has glaucoma so bad that he can't see. And he's basically tells him, listen, I can pay you, your month's rent, next month's rent, if you help me out by driving with me, I should say, to New York or the East Coast. And then the adventure begins. Nope, get out of here. Sorry, guys. It's our dog. It's the podcast dog. Go on.
And so at this point, too, what you discover in the comic book, I hope I'm not jumping too far ahead, is America is split up into four or five different
Zones,
right. Yeah, and they have to get all across the zones, and that's why he wants Logan to assist him as well, kind of as protection, because I don't think he believes him when he says, I don't go by Wolverine.
And I'm not going to kill anybody for you.
He said, I'm not going to fight anybody. I'm just going to drive you.
Right.
I haven't popped my claws. He says that a lot. I haven't popped my claws in
this
50 years.
This was surprising to me right off the gate, that the Hulk was a bad guy.
It's never really explained, and I don't want to go further until later, but it's never really explained. There are times when the Hulk has changed personalities, and in fact, he has a
Gray Hulk.
Gray Hulk is actually Joe
Fix-It.
Joe Fix-It, and he kind of was a bad guy. He was
He
kind
was
of
like
a
mobster, right?
Mobster. He had less power than the Hulk, but he had more brains. And depending upon the universes you go into, like there's a future Hulk that he actually gets super smart and becomes really awful. So, but in this particular universe, it's never explained why he does become bad after the circumstances that.
Well, is he bad?
Well.
He's just a very hard landlord.
Yeah, this is really all about rent control.
Yeah,
it's kind of a boring story arc.
So that's another thing. So not just can Wolverine not pay his rent. The Hulksters, the Hulk
clan,
yeah, they
Hulksters.
They beat the crap out of him.
Yeah,
and they even say like, "Look what you've become. It's so sad."
Well, he daydreams while they're kicking the shit out of him about gutting all of them, but he doesn't do it.
Yeah, and we'll find out later why.
But so then they go. He decides to help.
Spider-Mobile?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
classic. I think is that from the cartoon? I forget now.
No, I don't know.
It's like a Jeep though. It's not.
Yeah, it's
the Spider Buggy. Well, it's been around. It's kind of a joke because it's kind of like the Batmobile. So,
but ugly.
Yeah,
Shit.
exactly. I want to say it came from like maybe the '80s cartoon or '80s like toy
line. Yeah,
something like that. So the fact that they have it there is kind of a wink and nod to the reader.
Yeah, and as the reader finds out, the Spider Buggy can do anything Spider-Man can, so it can climb up walls.
Right.
Which comes into play later on. So they head out on their adventure, and pretty quickly, Logan sees how bad things are for the rest of the world, or I should say the rest of the United States. Like they come to this area where I don't know, like people are just convening. It looks like Herbie the Love Bug too. And they drive off a cliff. The Spider Buggy is perfectly fine, and then they get to.
This is one of my favorites. This is where they run into basically the Ghost Rider gang.
Yeah, like a biker gang, but Ghost Riders. But they only have fiery wheels. They don't seem to have any of his abilities.
It's kind of weird. So Ghost Rider, he becomes Ghost Rider because he's possessed by this
demon, right?
Demon, Zarthos. I forgot his name exactly. And there's some different incarnations. There's usually only one at a time. Well, no, they sometimes coexist.
Well, it's the Johnny or Ramirez guy,
right? Exactly. There's one with a car, but I have no. I kind of suspect that they basically stole these bikes because they have no powers of their own. So they basically have the bikes of the Ghost Rider, but they're not actually Ghost Rider.
Yeah. And then Hawkeye kills all of them pretty quickly, and then they go to, was it Hammer Falls?
Right.
Which is what used to be, I'm assuming, in Las Vegas.
And that's a nod to Justin Hammer, who was one of Iron Man's bad guys.
Oh, really?
He was an executive. Yeah.
Oh, well, see, I thought it was because Thor's.
Wait, you maybe you're right. Thor's hammer was there. Forget it.
Minor. What is it?
I can never pronounce it. Majoran.
Don't look at me.
Memnock the devil. I don't know.
Yeah. MJ, whatever.
Yeah. And then they speak to.
Is that the place where people are still praying for the superheroes to save
right.
them?
It's like a mecca for nerds.
So not only has Wolverine gone underground, there's no more superheroes right now. Well, they're there, but they don't do anything.
If they're
guys,
alive.
Yeah, the bad guys now run the entire country.
I mean, you don't know exactly what happened. You get glimpses, but it's very clear that the bad guys run everything. And
and it's hinted that they all teamed up one night.
Right. They basically had a brilliant idea. Hey, why don't we just fight all our fellow superheroes? And
I have to say, too, right off the bat, with the Sacramento scene and the Nevada scene, and even the cover, it read very Mad Max to me.
Oh, yeah. This is
very much. And they've got the Jeep.
The dystopian future.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Yeah, and it's almost like Bartertown in Thunderdome.
For sure. For sure.
So there's an Ultron, I guess, offspring.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of his bots.
Yeah, so they one of the Ultron offspring takes Wolverine and Hawkeye into a garage, and you meet his ex-wife. You meet Hawkeye's ex-wife, and she's like, "Hey, our daughter is captured." It turns out to be the granddaughter of Peter Parker,
right?
And she's in Kingpin's land, which is the next land over. So then Hawkeye's like, "Come on, let's go. You gotta, I'll pay you even more if you help me go get her out. It's on the way even, so it's not that big of a deal." And again, Logan reiterates, "Hey, I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not going to kill anybody, so I'll drive you, but that's it." And so then they're driving, and they drive through Cedar, Utah, which I'm assuming is that a real town?
It's Zion.
Is it really?
Well, part of Utah is Zion.
Right.
But there's a guy up on a church steeple on the cross, and like the what are those guys that they're digging underground, the Molochs?
Right. I think they're part of is it the Mole Men?
I think so, because they said what happens is when the world got too big, they finally got released again.
When the Earth's population got too big.
And their job is to overtake the population, to kill the people, and they do that by... I think when they drove through one town, it was already completely destroyed because of them.
San Francisco.
Yes, thank you.
But this guy on the cross, is he a character or something? Dennis, you're much more knowledgeable about the Marvel universe than I am.
Right.
Is this like a reference to somebody, or
I didn't really pick up on what he was a reference to, because there is definitely something with him. But
I wonder if it's like an illustration of the writer or the artist, like, and they just put themselves in the book.
Oh, that's possible too.
But I don't know. It's a weird. Although it reminds me of the weirdness of the late '60s westerns,
right?
When they would do like High Plains Drifter had a lot of weird.
Well,
shit
this definitely had that kind of feel to it.
But
I thought he was just there because basically Logan refuses to help him. Like, we're busy. Like, there's nothing we can do for him. I thought that was just more a reinforcement of.
Actually, Hawkeye tells him, "Hey,
that's right.
Tough. We're still
right.
Yeah, we don't have time to stop for this."
But
guy.
I think that's a testament to they're no longer the superheroes.
They don't have time to waste on.
Where before, a superhero is going to help you no matter what, right? There's always time to save someone or save the day. And
the cat in a tree kind of thing.
Right. They could have gotten him down very easily and give him a ride. So to me, it just read as a testament to that they're no longer superheroes. They're not going to help people who need help. They're very self-serving right now. They have a mission. Every man out for themselves right now in this new dystopia universe.
And then from there, I didn't pick up on that, so thank you for saying that. That was not the. I was just.
I'm
like,
not saying that
dude?
That is what
no,
it
I
is.
think it is.
But that's how I read it.
Yeah. Now that you're saying it, it makes sense to me. So they, then they wind up going further into Utah, and Daredevil, and
well, not a really. It's not really the Daredevil.
You don't think it is?
Because the three of them tried to form their own.
Oh, that's right.
Super
You're
group to overtake the villains.
You're right.
It's Daredevil. Who else?
And Punisher.
You're right.
And also the daughter.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So
a really horrible looking Punisher. Like, he's been. Some stuff.
Yeah. Well, he's just got like a mohawk or something.
Right.
I don't know.
No, you're right.
But and then I guess they have velociraptors in this arena.
Well, what happened was that apparently when the bad guys took over, they took. I don't know if you know that Savage Land is like an area where they have like still dinosaurs and everything. So they grabbed them over here, and they put them in North America, and they combined with the symbiotes that were part of Venom, and became this kind of.
Well, not at this point.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
So there's a big stadium, and it's full of people, and Daredevil and the Punisher are chained up in the middle of it, and then some velociraptors come out and just eat them, and while this is going on, Hawkeye and Logan are doing reconnaissance, and they see how many people are in the building. And Hawkeye gets the genius idea to drive the spider buggy along the side of a wall, and then crash into the building.
Right.
Well, because Kingpin says when he has the two superheroes who are chained up, eaten alive, he's like, "Don't worry, I have I think a much more villainous attack for the daughter." What's her name again? Sorry.
Spider Girl.
Okay, yeah. So.
And then, it's actually, that's a sweet revenge for the Kingpin because Daredevil and Punisher are his chief antagonists usually in the comic.
Oh, okay. Even in the Marvel TV series, Daredevil was.
That's right.
So Hawkeye kills everyone again.
In Kingpin's lair where she's locked up.
Yeah, and then Kingpin walks in. His daughter kind of helps. Hawkeye's daughter kind of helps guide him. She says, like, to the left of my voice by 5 feet or something like that, and he shoots the guy in the head with the arrow. Kingpin comes in, and Spider Girl, his daughter, decapitates Kingpin with a shotgun. Now, in this one, the Kingpin is a black man. I guess when the series was out, was Kingpin. I know there's like 2 different Kingpins, a white one and a black guy.
Right. No, he was still the white guy.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if
this is someone just claiming to be him.
Exactly. So it could have been in the post-apocalyptic universe here. He just wanted like a cool name, and he basically took the moniker Kingpin. That's kind of how I took it.
Okay. Yeah, because I had seen where there was at one point a white Kingpin and a black Kingpin, but I didn't. Or was that just in that stupid Daredevil movie?
The movie.
Oh, okay.
It's fine, whatever. You can mix it all up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been black and white Nick Furies.
Yeah.
And now the white Nick Fury is retired, and his son, who's black, who you've never heard of before, is suddenly Nick Fury. He's Nick Fury Jr., but now...
He doesn't go by Junior?
No, now he's just Nick Fury.
Maybe it's like George Foreman, and there's like 5 offspring, and they're all named Nick Fury.
Exactly.
Nick Fury 1, 2, 3,
He just
4,
thought Nick
5.
Fury was the best way to attach a name to Fury.
But so after she kills the Kingpin, or the current person going by Kingpin, she's gonna kill her dad, and he says, "You don't have to do this," and she basically says, "And I know I don't have to. I want to do it."
Yeah, because they thought that she and the other 2 superheroes were going to try to take over the bad guys to like save the world, and she's like, "No, I want to be the new leader.
Yeah,
I just want to lead the world." And how far Peter Parker's granddaughter has fallen.
Well, it's really weird. Yeah, I was surprised why she would turn bad. It's never really fully explained. And then later on,
I don't think she turned bad. I think she was just bad. Like at this point,
she's always been
in
bad.
The future. It's not even bad. I don't think she sees it that way. It's just
survival.
Survive. Yeah,
that's true.
Eat or be eaten kind of situation. So Logan drives the spider bug into the building. And I guess it's almost like that ambiguous, well, I didn't kill you.
Right.
The car killed you kind of thing. Or like in Batman Returns or Batman Begins, where he's got Ra's al Ghul pinned to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you kind of thing, where he's like, well, I don't know. It's sort of it's kind of breaking his code, I kind of feel like, because he obviously runs these people over with the buggy.
So he just doesn't use his claws.
Yeah. And then grabs Hawkeye, and they crash through to another building, and they're quickly pursued by a shit ton of vehicles and people riding dinosaurs.
Very Mad Max.
Yeah.
Right, well, he didn't kill her because
No, I know.
yeah.
No, he meant other people.
Yeah.
Her henchmen.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
such.
her henchmen. Sorry, the henchmen get run over.
And I think it's important to note too that even though Hawkeye is her father, he had nothing to do with her life. He left when she was 3 months old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's right.
It's like, so for her to kill her dad,
She
I
probably resents him quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't like this. Yeah, he wasn't there. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. I'm sorry. So the goons are chasing them,
And
then-
as they're about to get caught, the ground collapses beneath them, and it's what are they? Morlocks?
Moloids?
Something like that. Moloids. Collapses the ground underneath them in the desert, and everybody goes tumbling into the ground. Logan has a green stick left over from his raver days,
Right.
and a glow stick, and basically all these people are being eaten by these creatures,
Cannibalistic underground creatures. Right.
and they C.H.U.Ds, cannibalistic,
Right,
underground,
exactly.
underground dwellers. And then they escape. We're kind of running through this. It's a quick book. I felt like.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And then they pass through several other areas, and that's when they see like a giant Loki,
Right.
dead, and it's just skeletal remains. Mount Rushmore has the Red Skull blasted into it. You see a symbiote in the hills.
And I think it's important too to note that this whole time, Logan's under the assumption that Hawkeye, his eyes could be red. That Hawkeye is just is like a common drug dealer now. He's just dealing drugs back and forth,
Right.
and that's what he needs help for. So,
Right.
and he kind of
They're not on any kind of heroic mission
yeah,
to
it's
deliver
just
anything.
Drug
steal
running.
some drugs.
And then they wind up in a bar, and Hawkeye is asking Logan, like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, what's going on? And Logan starts to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And these hillbillies, I guess America's populated by hillbillies in the future.
Either Hulk hillbillies or regular.
And Logan turns around and almost kills the guy,
Mhm.
puts his hand up against his head to skewer him, and Hawkeye stops him. I don't know why Hawkeye stopped him.
Wait,
Like, is that-
sorry, you just missed it. So when they're in the bar, someone like makes like a joke about them.
Yeah,
Right.
because he was
Crying.
crying.
Yeah, but we didn't tell the listeners that.
Oh, I didn't. Say
Yeah,
that?
it's
Oh.
just it was a critical part. Hawkeye doesn't want to get killed. That's why he stopped him.
But I don't see why he stopped him from killing that guy. It doesn't. I guess I don't know. There's some code.
Maybe
he's
just-
not a true bad guy.
Exactly.
Just a shithead. So Hawkeye asks him, like, what the hell happened? And he goes, well, I'll tell you. So come to find out, what happened was go 50 years in the past, and Jubilee and Logan are sitting at, I guess, in the danger room or some monitoring board or something.
Right, exactly.
And all these alarms go off, and shortly thereafter,
Every
single bad guy
they've ever faced.
Just
And
about.
Which, when I was reading this, I was like, that's a lot of like A-list bad guys that are coming to attack the X-Mansion all at once. We're talking
Doc Ock,
Yeah.
Silver Samurai. Isn't that Silver
A lot
Samurai?
of
that is
people,
not
I
Silver
don't
Samurai.
know.
That's it. He looks like Cable. He's
Oh.
like I forgot his name now, but the
Looks
Claw,
like Splinter.
the Shocker, and then I think Mr. Sinister's there
Are
eventually.
you sure that's not Solomon Grundy making an appearance
Yeah,
from DC?
right, a crossover.
Yeah.
I think all of Freedom Force, which is like the Blob, just you name it, like
the
all-star cast,
Goblin,
all-star cast
Mr.
of bad
Sinister.
guys. Right, exactly.
come in and excuse me.
Magneto, right? No,
I don't know if that's Magneto. He's got like a radar hand.
that's not Magneto. That's
But anyways, so Jubilee and some of the other people are like, get the kids to safety. They start running out. And Wolverine just fucks everybody up.
well, these are all the like tough A-list bad guys too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think he says like 90 minutes of pure fighting, right?
Right,
And
right.
He's getting hit just as much as he's hitting. And he tells the kids, run, and no matter what you hear, don't come out.
Yes,
Right.
Don't look back.
Yeah. And
And-
as... Go ahead, sorry.
No,
Well,
go ahead.
as the fight is escalating and he's killing somebody, all of a sudden he hears...
Well, no. First, he's like, "Where the fuck is everyone?" He wants.
Oh,
he's
right.
no
like,
one's
"Where's
backing him up.
Yeah, like
no
where is
one's
everyone?
helping him.
So then finally he's killed everybody and he gets down to him and Bullseye, and he stabs Bullseye through the chest, like literally like through the chest.
Right.
Like he punches him so hard it goes out his back, and then Bullseye says, "Logan, stop, please. Why are you doing this? You're supposed to be our friend." And he goes, "Huh?"
Yeah.
And
So messed up.
and then Ray, is it Mysterio?
It's Mysterio.
Comes out of this fog and he's holding Jubilee's remains. Logan is holding Jubilee's remains, and turns out it was
all an illusion.
And
he actually ended up slaughtering all of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed all. And he said that Mysterio made him like even smell different.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a serious illusion.
He
so
thought
he
was-
never. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He thought he was battling all the bad guys.
But yeah, you turn to the other page and like Beast has lost all of his limbs except for one arm.
Right.
Like there's decapitated people. Iceman's got his head chopped off. Who's the guy who can throw stuff?
The thrower.
No, the thrower.
Oh, long shot?
No,
Gambit.
Gambit.
Yeah, they're basically all slaughtered by Wolverine pretty badly.
And Wolverine tries to commit suicide by putting his head on a railroad and letting a train decapitate him, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah. So I'm going to say right now at this point, I'm not a whole lot familiar with the X-Men. I don't really care about Wolverine. I've seen a few of the movies, and they're entertaining for what they are. I didn't see Snow anywhere. But anyway.
Snow?
Yeah. You know, Frost.
Informer?
The rapper? Yeah.
No, the girl who makes everything turn to ice.
Oh, you're talking Frost.
Yeah, Frost. Okay. But anyway, that's beside the point. At this point...
Why did you bring her
Because
up?
I was like, oh, wait, I didn't see her. At this point, though, even someone who's not as familiar as you two, I was like, oh, that's so sad. That's devastating. He killed all of his friends. Like, I felt for him. I really did. And so when you go back to the front cover, the very first page, when it's him retracting into the woods and he's just beat up, you think the villains got him so good.
Right.
And
well, they kind of did.
Yeah. But then I also thought on a much deeper level, America's kind of the way it is now because Wolverine killed the people who could help them.
Yeah.
Right? Like not
exactly.
Like my heart went out to Wolverine. As lame as that sounds,
no.
But I really was like, oh, that's sad. And I get now why he doesn't want to fight because how does he know he's killing a bad guy and not a replacement?
Well, and then the fight before it's revealed is so intense, right? That once it's revealed what happened, you can only fill in the blanks of how he was just like, these people are probably not even trying to attack him hard.
Yeah.
And he's just going full force and like
full berserker rage.
Exactly. So
don't do drugs, kids.
Right.
No, don't have an arch nemesis who's has the ability to control.
Why
illusion.
are you looking at me when you said that?
You're the arch nemesis.
Yeah, you're my arch nemesis. Then they go on. They run into a kid who apparently has Ant-Man's helmet,
which gives him the ability, I think, to control ants.
Yeah, and he basically have to pay him a toll because if you don't, he'll have all the ants just eat you alive.
Right.
And then they are pursued by a T-Rex that is. It looks like it's part
symbiote.
Yeah, but it's like two different symbiotes. It's venom and
anti-venom.
Yeah, it's venom and anti-venom on them. And
a la Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think they even do the shot with the mirror.
No, it's exactly what they do. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, and then they're saved by who's Black Bolt?
Black Bolt. Mm-hmm. He just has to basically talk even in a whisper, and he can blow.
Yeah.
His thing is sonics. So
and symbiotes in this
don't deal well with sound.
Yeah. So then
they get taken
Frost.
to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Frost. There you go.
Wait. Is that Frost that he meets?
Yeah.
That is.
But it's Halle Berry in the movies.
No, that's Storm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is how much I don't follow the Marvel.
The White Queen. Yeah, she was part of the Hellfire Club.
Okay.
And it's actually, I was like, wow, she looks really good for everyone else being
and it's an
super
illusion.
Right. So you can only imagine how pretty crappy she probably looks.
So then they kind of resupply him, I guess.
Right.
They fix the car.
Yeah.
Right. Let him go through the territory.
Yeah, and then they drive through
that's Giant Man.
Yeah.
Did anyone else think she looked like She-Ra? I thought that she looked like an adult She-Ra.
No,
yes.
She-Ra is an adult.
But not really. Like I felt like this was like olden times, like senior
What?
citizen She-Ra. Frost reminded me of She-Ra. I'm just gonna say that.
All right. And then they make it to New York.
Right. So if they get to the point where they're supposed to deliver his package, which turns out to be super soldier serum, the stuff that they injected Captain America with, made all the super soldiers. So they're hoping to boost up the resistance. Not that most of the heroes are slaughtered, thanks Wolverine. And turns out that's all a sting operation by S.H.I.U.D. Now, S.H.I.U.D. is normally a good guy organization, but now that the bad guys run everything, now they're kind of basically KGB.
Kind of like ICE and the FBI now in this day and age.
No comment.
Oh, God, they're probably listening in on this, aren't they?
Well, hopefully, subscribe.
Yeah.
If you are, please subscribe.
So then the guy that they're making the deal with, who kind of looks Hitler-esque, only fat, shoots Hawkeye in the chest, and they blast Wolverine, and they apparently don't know that he's Wolverine,
right?
And shoot Hawkeye in the head, and then
and all Hawkeye wanted out of all of this, because he's gonna give all the money and then some to Wolverine. He's trying to get more money from him. All he wants in this transaction is to get one of the bottles of potion. He wants to help Rage the Resistance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and in the process, hopefully, inspire Wolverine to be the hero that these guys need.
So then it goes back to some point in the past, and you see
the fall of heroes. Basically, this time period when the heroes are.
And it's implied Captain America is like one of the last ones, and Red Skull crushes his head basically.
And then the macabre move ends up taking his mask off and wearing it.
Yeah, and he's got
so gross.
a chest. He's got like a trophy case with different bad guy or superheroes. Like he's got
the defeated heroes' equipment, or
he's got Doctor Strange's
costume.
cape.
Right.
But the really disgusting thing is he's got the Thing's hand in
which
there.
is his real hand.
Yeah. But he's wearing Captain America's suit.
And this shot right here that Johnny's looking at, where the Red Skull's wearing his suit, made me just think Silence of the Lambs.
Oh no, it's totally. He's wearing his skin because it's still bloody and everything.
I was just like, this is so disturbing.
Well, I think that's just stained.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah. But I mean,
unless he like does some special stuff to make it bloody all the time.
Is the Red Skull's face drippy?
No, not typically. It's
He
usually
gets out of the shower. It's drippy,
right.
But
Yeah, exactly. No,
it's not moist all the time.
No, he's not. He's not a bloody skull.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. If my skin looked like that, I would assume I'd have to lotion it up quite a bit. So then they bring in the bodies, and Logan pops out, beats the shit out of everybody,
but still hasn't popped his claws.
Pops out of this body bag, beats the shit out of everybody, and then takes Captain America's shield, fights the Red Skull. In hand-to-hand combat,
right?
And then decapitates him with the shield. Takes
some Iron Man armor parts.
Yeah, and just like the top.
Yeah, it's really janky.
It's like the shoulders up, the gloves, and the boots.
I don't even know why he'd need the helmet, but whatever.
That's where he commands.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and then escapes from the White House with a briefcase full of money,
which he needs. His intent is still to pay off his debt to the Banner Boys or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the Hulksters.
Yeah.
And then crash lands about 500 miles or 100 miles or so from his home in Sacramento. Makes it there, and someone greets him. A neighbor is like, "I'm really sorry, but the whole gang came here yesterday."
And they were never going to,
well,
honor their...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Wolverine says, "What do you mean I still have 2 weeks to pay?" And then he's like, "Well, the Hulk said they got bored."
Right, exactly.
And killed your family.
Like rednecks do.
Yeah. So he says, the neighbor says to him, "You can honor your family by grieving and giving those kids a good Christian burial. We're always here for you, Logan, but you got to promise us you will not go looking for revenge. In those hills, you understand?" And he says, "Logan," again, like trying to get his attention. "Name isn't Logan, bub." And then Snick across 2 pages, which I thought was kind of cheesy. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was just really, really cheesy. It's Wolverine, and he's got his bloody claws out.
Right, because he hadn't popped them in so long.
Yeah, I imagine it's like when you get your ears pierced, and then you don't wear
it
ears for a little
hurts.
while.
You have to shove it in, and sometimes you have to go through the back of your
So you don't
ear
actually have to
get it.
re-pierce them?
No, but to
Kinda,
get that
you're
in,
like breaking that membrane.
yeah, it can hurt. It can hurt quite a bit.
So now you know what it's like for Wolverine.
Yeah,
to not
exactly.
have his claws out for 50
Maybe
years.
times 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know. It could be. So there's a couple Hulk gang hillbilly offspring bathing like in a waterway, and they get killed very quickly.
Yeah, it's basically a slaughter fest from this point forward,
Yeah.
where Wolverine has basically, I mean, they've brutalized and killed his family, and so now he's just exacting his revenge.
Yeah, and it's pretty gruesome what he is.
There's heads flying,
Yeah.
limbs flying.
He's not holding back at all.
Yeah.
So then the Banner gang, as they're known, the Hulk gang, have been using the Fantastic Four
Yeah,
jet.
I like that. They kind of spray painted it a little
Yeah, and they he steals it back from them and then crashes it into their trailer park. It's literally a trailer park.
bit. Right.
And
Doesn't he load it up with explosives?
Yeah,
or
it
something?
detonates a bomb
Yeah.
with one of the
More gore.
yeah, is that the guy's name? The Hulk?
What?
The Banner kid?
I don't remember.
Morgor?
No, I said
No,
more gore.
Like the blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I said that was
Like
the guy's-
heads are flying everywhere.
Yeah.
So then it gets he kills many, and then Bruce Banner walks out, not the Hulk,
Right. So this is interesting. Bruce Banner, who looks really scrawny,
and old.
Like
And
90.
old, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Ross Perot.
and this is what I don't understand. So he confronts Bruce Banner, and Hulk goes after him, but
No, like he confronts.
I mean, Wolverine
yeah,
Goes after
Wolverine
him,
goes
yeah.
after Bruce Banner, but
Right.
Bruce Banner's got like Hulk's strength.
as Bruce Banner.
Yeah, as Bruce Banner.
So something happened to him.
Yeah, like some sort of mutation. I think they said that like he's gone insane from the
Radiation.
gamma radiation.
Yeah.
Right.
It's slowly driven.
But
him
he didn't
insane.
have to be Hulk in order to, like, if he normally he wouldn't be able to withstand the
Yeah, he's just a normal human being.
Yeah,
in-
exactly.
In Banner mode. So then Hulk is like this huge, fat monstrosity.
Well, yeah.
thing.
So Wolverine ends up like gutting him right at first,
Yeah.
and then he hulks out and he becomes this really mutated
like an
Hulk.
ogre. Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reminded me of that guy that steals Princess Leia in that one.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
yeah, with,
he
with
looked-
the arms.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what was it from Weird Science? The brother becomes like
Oh,
Chet.
Oh,
Chet.
he
Chet
does
becomes
do
the
it.
pile
He
of
looks
shit.
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
But with arms, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty fucking gruesome, and he picks Wolverine
eats
up
Wolverine.
and
He
bites
eats
into his
him.
chest.
So
It's
I'm not. Yeah. So is it? He doesn't really nibble him. Kind of eats him whole.
No, but I mean, he
Bites
like
it.
bites into his chest. I'm sure.
Right.
My impression is like he probably chomped him in 3
Right.
bites,
Right.
swallowed him, and then one of the few remaining Banner kids shows up, and the Hulk is in excruciating pain.
He's got a tummy ache.
Yeah, and all of a sudden,
Wolverine,
Wolverine is reborn.
a la Alien,
Yeah, by coming out of his back, basically.
which I've never seen it except for one issue. So there might be other issues, but I know I've seen it where Wolverine has been reduced to basically a pile of muscle and blood and guts
From what? From an explosion or something?
from
Or-
was a mystical force. Like what ended up like eviscerating him, so like his guts were spread everywhere. But then he slowly reforms a la T-1000. I don't know if that's what happened here or if he just wasn't bit into a whole bunch of bits. So
I think he reformed inside. Well, there's no way he would have been able to chop through his adamantium.
right, so his skeleton was probably still
Intact,
there. Right,
yeah.
exactly.
And then turns out there's one last Banner
Baby.
offspring, and it's a baby. Oh, we should say it is heavily implied that Bruce, in Hulk form, raped She-Hulk.
Not implied. He actually says she was the only one who could withstand.
Yeah, my humping.
Yeah, exactly.
The Force.
The force of
And then that got kind of Vampire Diaries for me because that's like the whole problem with Bella and the.
Wait, let's stay on one nerd.
No,
thing.
but that's it. Like that's the whole thing is like she can't like have sex with the vampire because he's just too strong, and that's what the Hulk kind of reminded me of right now. I was like, really?
in the Vampire Diaries. What is
Yeah.
this? Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Well, our listeners do.
So
Not
then
the Vampire Diaries, Twilight.
oh,
that
Twilight.
series.
Yeah. So he's. It's implied. It looks like he's gonna kill the baby, but then it turns out he takes it and he's gonna raise it to be
So he gives his family the proper Christian burial.
Yeah.
And then he walks off with the baby in his backpack. And what does he say in the end with the baby in his backpack?
Shuck it long and shuck it hard. No, he says, well, they killed me 50 years ago, bub, and I got better. I figure I've kept my head down long enough.
So it kind of implies he's going to go out and try to
restart the superhero line of work.
Yeah.
Do you think they put that down on their W-2?
So anyway, just as a quick epilogue to that, they don't actually continue this story quite directly. Eventually, there's Secret Wars 2, where it takes place on these different alternate universes. They bring him back, but it's in this weird amount. It's like in a zone.
Because Wolverine has died in the...
Well, and this is a separate thing. So Secret Wars is like they have different universes, like multiverses. His is one of them. And it
Old Man Logan's is like a Marvel 6, Earth 6,
exactly.
12 or whatever.
So they continue a little bit of that. Eventually, they fold him back into the proper universe because the real Wolverine is dead. His daughter, X-23, is now the new Wolverine. So he's in our universe, and he's trying to prevent his future from happening. So he actually tries to go after the Hulk and kill him before.
Oh.
But at this time, the Hulk isn't the Hulk. The Hulk is this Korean guy, something Choi. So anyway, he's in our universe, kind of filling the role of the regular Wolverine. So they don't actually continue his story in that universe where, hey, let's get the Resistance together and any of that stuff.
Or it's got like the lone wolf and cub kind of thing going on. Oh.
I know, it's kind of disappointing. That's what I felt. So they just basically right now he has his own current series, but he's in the normal Marvel universe.
Yeah. So that's that. I had read a little bit about that online.
Yeah,
that's where I was like, what the fuck? Come on.
Yeah. So this genre is not my genre, but I really loved this book.
Yeah.
I loved the story. I loved the artwork. Even when it's kind of overly bloody and gruesome, I was like, well, it's the Wolverine. I can give it credit for that. But I really, really liked this comic.
Yeah, no, I thought for a standalone, it was terrific. I think it was a great way to kind of put a cap on something that's never going to be capped. But
right. Well, and I mean, that's I think we've discussed before that the problem with superhero comics is that they're always stunted, right? They can't actually progress. They can't.
And Hawkeye makes a joke about how this time no one was coming back. There was going to be like a miracle suit that brought him back to life. That nobody's body was going to be inhabited by or inhabited by someone's essence to give them the powers. Like they were dead, done.
Dead. Exactly. And so these sort of stories are my jam. Like these ones where they take an older character, they've killed off other characters,
or the what ifs.
Exactly. And I definitely loved it. Artwork was great, very visceral, obviously, very grown up. It didn't seem too campy, except for, like you said, when he popped his claws for the first time later on. But I definitely liked the story a lot. So
yeah, I never think of superheroes as getting old or like living a normal life or like what happens. And when it starts as Wolverine just old and defeated, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That can happen? What?
It reminded me of Peaches. What?
Well, and that's the weird thing is like when he first discovers in the regular universe his kid, X-23, she starts off like 12, but now he's dead and she's, I think, a young woman. So she might be 18 to early 20s now. But of course, if he came back, he'd be the same age.
Yeah.
He'd be almost the same age as his daughter now. So,
like Batman, and somehow Batman's still 35 and has a 20-year-old kid.
Right.
But the story was great. I really liked it a lot. Getting back to the movie, Logan had almost nothing to do with this story. I guess it's inspired by, but.
And honestly, how could they, right? I mean, there's all sorts of...
they could have.
Well, no, they don't have... Fox doesn't have the rights to
Captain America, Spidey. He could have killed the X-Men. That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's... Sorry, I'll let you guys...
Go for it.
Okay, so as I said... When we
should say spoilers. We're going to completely spoil Logan.
It. Oh, spoiler, the movie sucks. But
I disagree, but we'll talk.
Okay, we will talk. So I kind of had no desire to see this movie. I really didn't. And again, I thought it was Logan's Run. But then I read the comic book, and I was like, oh,
no
this
red
movie,
diamonds in the hand.
Right. I was like, this movie's going to be good. Now I'm excited to see this movie. So the movie starts, and it keeps going and going.
Well, it's a road movie. They're on the run.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the comic book. And also, I kept waiting for the scene where it flashes back to the Wolverine killing the X-Men. That never happened.
Well, I think in the movie it's implied Professor X killed everyone.
Yeah, that it was kind of implied, but and even then I was like, I'll let you guys talk more about the movie.
Well, I don't think they could have used like this. This one's much more for comic book movie, as far fetched as it is. I think it was more grounded in reality.
For sure.
So I don't think it would have been appropriate for them to show, X-Men costumes in this book, even though like there's people with, mechanical hands and stuff. I almost got the feeling that in Logan, when he picks up the comic books and he's like, 25% of the stuff that was in here, most of this is fake. Only about 25% of it ever really happened. I almost got the feeling he was saying the movies that was just fiction created around what the X-Men were really like.
It's very possible, and I'll say I like the movie.
Yeah.
I started this week. I watched the first X-Men movie. I watched a handful of the Wolverine films, and I liked how the characters matured. I felt that it was good that they took a step back from very comic book like villains and a very comic booky plot in terms of like, here's a super bad guy that I need to defeat to help save the universe. They almost acknowledge, like you said, the campiness by showing that there's actually comic books in this world of the X-Men.
Yeah.
But it's not how everything went. I mean, I was moved by the performances of Wolverine himself
and Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart was amazing, and
the little girl.
The little girl was amazing. For as little as she said, I thought it was good for me.
So let's give a rundown for our listeners of what the movie is. You guys can fill in any gaps. I'll go quick.
Sure.
So it's a post.
I think you could break it down really fast. It's set in the future, about 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Most mutants are dead.
Almost all of them. They're
Wolverine works for some sort of like new Uber.
Yeah.
And this woman tries to find him because she needs help saving Logan, and he reluctantly gets involved. And then come to find out,
she's trying to save a little girl.
right, named Logan.
No.
That's right. See how
that's why you didn't enjoy the
plotting?
movie.
Yeah.
Her name was
That's
Laura.
Right. That's right, Laura. But come to find out, Laura is his daughter. But okay, we'll get into that. But anyway,
well,
his
so at the
sperm
end of
was used.
well, no,
Okay.
it's not his sperm actually. It's at the end of Apocalypse. There's a company run by Mr. Sinister, right?
Right.
That takes his DNA, and that's what starts them.
Yeah. So
that's how the movie's connected
okay.
to the previous one.
So come to find out, the Sinister company, they started breeding or developing.
They're trying to create
homebrew mutants.
well,
Yeah.
they're like specific mutants, because that's what the doctor that towards the end of the movie that is running all of this.
He wanted Caliban's DNA because he's smart and can detect other mutants.
Yeah, and it's because they're trying to. He was saying, when a mutant breeds with another mutant, you don't know what you're going to get, and I'm trying to control that. And in doing that, he accidentally created a virus that wiped out all the other mutants.
Oh, okay. So the nurses who care for these children try to treat them like children, and they get really upset. They're like, no, they're not children. They're objects.
They have no birthdays.
Yeah, you can't do any of that. So then the company decides they built better mutants.
They build X-24.
Yeah, and so they're gonna get rid of all the kids. The nurses work together to free the kids.
Some of them.
Yeah,
Some of them are killed.
That's right.
And
they try to get them to North Dakota.
From Mexico.
Yeah. So no, I thought they were gonna go to Canada. North Dakota.
From Mexico.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Right.
Yes, from Mexico, they try to get them to North Dakota so they can find Eden and be free and be mutants. And then in the course of this, of course, Wolverine gets involved. He finds out his DNA was used, and then I'll let you guys go on from there.
And then it's a road movie, basically.
Yeah.
They're on
Yeah,
the run.
but-
It's like Midnight Run.
Yeah, he's on the run, but there's just so much gore that was not. I literally almost walked out on 2 occasions.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
I literally almost walked out because towards the end. So yeah, they're on the run, right? it's the same scene over and over. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, and the whole farm scene. There's one point where they help these farmers.
Yeah, it's like a safe
I felt
harbor.
So bad.
Yeah, and the farmers like take them in overnight, and of course the bad guys catch up with them, and they end up killing this whole farm family. And I'm like, that whole thing was not necessary. It was not needed. Oh, and that's when it's discovered they created a new Wolverine.
Right. So the X-24 program apparently is let's make straight up clones. So in the comics, they actually try to make clones, but they can't quite. So that what they end up doing is one of the researchers splices her DNA with the Wolverine DNA, kind of like how they had to do frogs with dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, and that's how they ended up with
Laura, right?
Laura, right? Because they couldn't make a male clone.
Yeah.
But here, apparently, they've perfected it, so now they can make a full, from adulthood clone. So before they had to, it's kind of like Clone Wars. Before they had to raise them as kids. This one, they can make them adults straight away.
With the family situation, I thought if I was Logan and I would have been like, no, there's danger following us, and we can't stay here, so we're leaving.
And he did try to say that, and then Patrick's character, what's his name?
Professor Xavier. Yeah.
How dare I not know that?
Yeah.
So, Professor Xavier was like, no, we should stay, let the girl rest, and he kind of, but I agree. I think Logan should have been like, no, we need to go. We're on the
really
run.
should push it.
Yeah.
Because that was a very upsetting scene because I felt like that could have been totally prevented by the heroes.
Yeah,
they acted like heroes instead of being selfish and like, let's pretend we're family for like 5 seconds.
Or they could have cut 20 minutes out of the movie, never had that scene. It was not needed for the film whatsoever. And we could have all gone out. It's a long movie. It's a long movie.
Well, I feel like a third of that movie was just Patrick Stewart saying, Logan, 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 Logan. Logan.
But I liked seeing Patrick Stewart as a crabby old man who has to take a piss.
I did too, but he does
fuck.
say Logan a lot.
What you never get from the movie, especially if I've never read this book, why is Wolverine so why is he old? Why is he so downtrodden? What is he dying from? Oh, that's the thing.
Well,
Wolverine's
they
kind
don't
of
actually
sick throughout the movie.
super answer that. Is it?
I think it's implied his adamantium is poisoning him.
Who's antimantium?
That's
the
metal.
The metal on his.
So quick
that's
bio on
really
him.
sick.
Bio on him. He's very old. He actually fought in the Civil War with his brother.
Oh,
but he always had natural claws and healing factor. It wasn't until like the 60s and 70s that the
Weapon X
program that they said, hey, you know what? He can survive because of his healing factor. So we'll put this special metal on his bones, and that'll make him even cooler and better. So up until that point, he just had natural claws.
It's just bone.
Okay, so the metal's probably what's slowly deteriorate, killing him.
Yeah.
Or it's possible if his powers are diminishing, his healing factor can't, because it's like metal poisoning. So he can't compensate for that as well.
Yeah.
So
and the little girl just like that. That's like all she sounds like the whole movie. She doesn't say anything, but just the violence and the gore, I was like, it's not really needed. And there was something about seeing a little girl, even if it was a little boy, because I was thinking this in the movie, like, am I just upset because it's a little girl? Just like a little kid with this amount. And I was like, what parent allowed their child to be cast in this film?
Because a film they can't see.
It was just unneeded gratuity, I thought, and just the blood. And
well, I don't know. It was, those she knew those people had killed her friends, and that they were coming to take her to kill her and anybody else. So I don't know. I don't think it was quite gratuitous. It was on the line there, but it was a rated R movie.
Yeah, I felt it sold the whole idea that they were trying to make a killing machine that they couldn't control now.
And now and she just takes whatever she wants. And the Wolverine, there's some funny jokes like you can't just take a car.
It reminded me of.
Hopefully, she didn't kill that guy.
I don't think she
did. The fisherman.
Oh, the fisherman, yeah. It reminded me a lot of John Connor trying to teach the T2 or the T100.
Well, then
the Cyberdyne System 101.
So at the very end of the movie,
she even gets his sunglasses.
Yeah, he does get her to North Dakota where the other kids are, and thankfully all the other kids made it, right?
Not all of them.
Oh, that's right.
A couple of them were killed.
Yeah, but this scene to me now, it seemed very Hook and Peter Pan-ish. Like they're in the Lost Boys, right? The kids are no parental controls. No one's there to help them. They've kind of Jerry Rager.
No, I think that was an old
the
lookout
fort.
tower.
Yeah, but they still made it like work, and they're it just felt very Lost Boys and stupid. Sorry.
Although now that I think about it, that one, what was his name? Was it Pedro, the leader
like,
kid?
he's like the lead. Yeah.
Well, I think he had Magneto powers, didn't he? Because he lifted that truck. So maybe
maybe
they
he's just
I don't know.
telekinesis.
Some were
maybe?
badass. That one with the leaves that ended up ripping that guy apart. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
that was. I think she controlled the wind.
Oh,
That's what it was. And
Okay.
she just one of the mutant children had the ability to control wind like Storm, and just impaled this guy with sticks and then used the wind to blow him up.
Well, one of the main bad guys was kind of a redneck,
Yeah.
so that's kind of like the comic.
Yeah. But spoiler alert, Wolverine fights his self, his clone, and then
Who's younger, stronger.
and like superhuman strength.
Well, I think he was it's Wolverine at his prime.
No, Wolverine at his prime couldn't lift a
But they keep it-
attack vehicle off of him.
Right, but they injected that green stuff in him after the farm scene, and they said like this will make you heal faster because remember he lost his eye.
Yeah, but I mean, Wolverine doesn't have the ability. Wolverine is just like
right. But I think that medicine they gave him is making him a super Wolverine.
Strong.
Roid out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
strong enough to push a probably 4,000-pound vehicle off of him.
So out of everything in the movie, that's the one thing you're like, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I didn't.
You believe
Did not. I almost
everything
walked out
else.
on that scene. I was all bullshit.
I was so close.
I was
to
gonna
like,
throw my popcorn
I was like,
on
this
your
is-
face, and yeah. So Wolverine sacrifices himself to save the kiddos.
And so they bury him. They put a wooden cross on his
Yeah.
grave, and then she turns to its side and makes an X.
Yeah, not because of the X-Men. She's just not religious.
Because she's like, he's
She's
dead.
like, no. She's like, no. I don't want a cross or a
Right.
Star of David. Get that shit off of here.
No, it's because he was extreme.
Yeah.
So it is implied then that they're going to become the new X-Men, right? These
No, it's
swarming
not implied.
mutants.
No, I think they would be the young mutants or the
Yeah.
new mutants.
They're
going to
go to this Eden. They're going to be raised up. They're going
Right.
to still have their superpower.
I think that's what the next movie's going to be about.
Not
These
necessarily,
kids?
but in terms, it's kind of like how Dark Knight Rises ended, right? It's implied that Robin became Batman.
I think it would be if they do that though. I think it would be a much better approach to making the next series of X-Men because now it's like, well, don't go back to make them in the '90s like they've been talking about because
Right.
now we know everyone dies. So
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't this Hugh Jackman's like last Wolverine?
Yeah.
the
It's
movie,
supposed
though?
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to the costume, because I actually read about this, because it's all over Yahoo. Hugh Jackman, they actually tried to get the Wolverine costume into this movie because I guess his is the only superhero costume that's never been in the movie. And they tried to work away with the producers and the director, but there's just no way to make it happen, he
because
said.
it's stupid looking.
Oh, yeah, that. And he's like, they really, really tried, but they just couldn't.
Well, one of the kids is carrying a Wolverine action figure that has him in the costume.
Yeah, so I think that's how they got the nod to
Yeah.
it. But the little girl, I will say, I thought she was well cast, even though I don't agree with her parents' decision. But like, I did think she was. I think she needed to be a little bit older.
Okay, so here's something that I'll nitpick at the film about. Why is she? So she's bilingual. That's great, but she has a very thick Mexican accent. That's fine because she was raised in Mexico. But none of the other kids
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
So
it's-
Yeah.
not even Pedro has that.
Even Sasha, like my girlfriend went and saw the movie with us, and she leaned over and was like shaking her head, like, "Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, none of them."
She's the only one who has the accent. Everyone
Oh.
else is totally
And
Americanized.
I swear that kid who was like the leader of the kids up on the hill was like 33 years old, but just really short,
Short,
and so
yeah.
they were able to cast him as a 15-year-old.
And shout out the nurse who kind of helps the girl because she fell in love with her. She is the mom on Prison Break, who I love. She's like the selfish Mexican mother. And then she gets freed at the end. Oh, that's another spoiler. But she gets freed, but her daughter is still in prison. And she like gets her friend to be her daughter's
She's also
like mother.
she's also the kind of a selfish mom in Orange is the New Black.
That's the show I was talking about. What did I say?
and third,
Prison Break.
No, not Prison Break. Orange is the New Black. Sorry.
and second shout out, she is the selfless nurse mom from Fear the Walking Dead. Who, spoiler
That's
alert,
right.
ends up biting it.
Can
And
we cast her in something where
third,
she lives?
third of all, she plays the adoptive mother of Laura in Logan.
No.
No? All right. Okay.
You know, I
So-
might have liked this movie. Well, no. But if it had anything to do with the book, that I read.
Yeah,
He's
He's
old.
old.
No.
And he's a
like-
man.
I
Yeah.
think it would have been even
And his
better.
name's Logan.
I think it would have been better. So in the very beginning, what happens is these guys are trying to steal his car, and he like whips out his blades, and they start beating him, and he wins. That's what he does. But if it would have started like, no, I refuse to fight. Like,
I think
Yeah.
I think if they had put it in there where he didn't use his claw. I mean, I know there's probably some board on the movie that were like, no.
He needs to show him as soon as
Wolverine's got his
possible.
Wolverine claws throughout the whole movie. But yeah, I think it would have had more impact if he didn't use them until after.
Completely agree.
Spoiler alert: Charles died. I
Right.
think at that
Yeah.
point he would have been like, "Fuck everybody here! I'm killing all of you."
I totally agree. That would have tied it in a little better with the comic.
Well,
and
it would have made it a little bit more impactful
right.
with him
Exactly.
And
going on a murder spree.
Yeah, and it was weird too with the farm scene again. That so they end up killing Charles, but he goes and grabs Charles, and he tries to save him and not the little girl. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like he's not at this point. He could care less. His main concern is Charles, and I'm like, and even you can hear the little girl screaming, like help.
Well, he was just putting him in the truck. I thought he was going back to go get her, though.
I didn't get that impression.
Mm.
I didn't get
No.
it. I think he was, and
Gonna
it was really
take off?
important for him that Charles knew he didn't do it because it was the other Wolverine lookalike that killed him. But I think he had no intention of going back for the little girl. I think he was ready to be like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Yeah, I will say that also about the movie that it was interesting role reversal for Wolverine. Like he started off because I just watched the X-Men, so he starts off as this kind of feral kind of warrior, and Charles is trying to calm him down and take care of him. Whereas in this time period now, it's kind of like when you're a kid, your parents take care of you, but then as they get older, you end up having
Yeah.
to take care of them. So now he has to be the caretaker for Charles, and I really think that Charles ended up killing the X-Men because there's a little bit of a radio thing, and
Yeah.
it's implied that whatever because he freezes time. He can freeze time usually.
Well, yeah, but it's also implied that the Homeland Security has classified him as a
Weapon
of mass destruction.
Right, exactly.
Because he killed everybody in Westchester,
Right.
New York, which is the home of the X-Men.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a real place though.
I don't know.
New York.
The X-Men are though.
It's just 3 hours of my life I will never get back.
I'm sorry. I liked it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Francis, no. Dennis, yes. For Johnny.
Yeah, I liked it.
So you two would recommend the movie,
Oh yeah.
okay. And would you recommend the book?
I would
Yes.
definitely
Yeah,
recommend
see.
the book over the movie.
And I think this is the best of the Wolverine movies for sure.
I think it's the best of probably all the X-Men movies. I'm not a huge X-Men movie fan. First Class is decent.
I kind of like Days of Future Past.
I like the one with the blue girl, but it was played by Jennifer Lawrence.
So that's First Class
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Days of
that
Future
one.
Past and Apocalypse.
Yeah, they just don't make Apocalypse was terrible.
What was the very first Wolverine movie?
Origins, X-Men Origins,
Yeah.
Wolverine. That's
That
where
one was okay.
that had Deadpool in it.
I never saw that one because it looked like garbage.
It was kind of
So.
garbage.
And even the Wolverine was
That was better.
I don't know. It was still bad. It
It
was still bad.
I think it was directed by the same guy.
It was.
Here was the thing: Wolverine was such a jerk in this movie. I didn't care that he died.
Well, that's Wolverine, and he's kind of a jerk in general. He's just kind of a
That's
asshole.
men. That's men in general.
But then he realized he wanted to be a dad. He went back for her, and
Yeah.
then he sacrificed himself. And then when she's crying, "Daddy," I mean, how can that affect?
well, that's just like I didn't believe that he cared about her because he left her in the farm scene. He was not. He had nothing.
But he was redeemed.
Yeah.
He was redeemed.
No, he came back for her in the farm scene.
You want to do that? You want to handle it? Well, go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out to our fan mail.
Oh yes.
yeah,
Our first one ever.
pull
Super
that up, Johnny?
exciting.
Yeah, let's. Okay, so we got an email from somebody who goes by Double Bass, or maybe it's Bass. I'm not sure of this.
I think Bass would be good. No,
Double Bass sounds cooler than Double Bass.
I don't know.
I got two bass fit unless you're part of the
If you're in South
Bass
Carolina,
Association
yeah,
of
you might like
America.
that,
But basically, he just said he was listening to the podcast, the Ghost World episode, and it was one of his favorite movies. And this is what I sent this back to him asking because he said that he bought Shortcomings for his mother as a
Oh.
birthday gift, and I wrote back, "Is your mom
Right.
podcast fan. No, my mom hates your podcast, but is your mom a comic book reader? Or
Right, right.
What was the reason for getting that for her? Are you trying to get her into it? So, so I just want to say thank you to Double Bass. I'm going with bass.
Well, I'll say thank you to Double Bass.
I'll say thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you, and especially this gentleman who wrote to us and said how great I was.
Yeah,
And if
he did.
I think he talked about YouTube too, but I stopped reading.
You're right. Well, if you want to be like double bass, you can write us at GN Explorers Club. That's our Twitter handle. Sorry, and then gnexplorersclub@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on Logan, either the Old Man Logan book or the terrible movie.
The wonderful movie, I think. Though.
I'll give it. I'll split the difference. The C+ movie.
C+.
Yeah.
As in
wait
claws.
It's a
C
wait
for
for
claws.
DVD.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Wait
would
for VHS.
Yeah, I'd wait for VHS or Betamax, whatever. Or the mini disc,
Laser disc.
Yeah, the mini laser
Oh
disc.
yeah, there you go.
But yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. And again, we'll be back next week with Shortcomings by Adrian Tomine.